outcome will also shape Bangladesh's future, its alignment with India and China at a time when regional power dynamics are fast shifting. As Bangladesh votes, choosing both a parliament and voting in a referendum for the first time, the stakes could not be higher. Joining me on the show is Salahuddin Shoaib Chaudhry, editor Blitz Bangladesh, who's live from Dhaka right now. We also heard Muhammad Yunus speaking just a while ago, addressing the people of Bangladesh. We'll cut to that very, very shortly. But let me come to you, Mr. Chaudhry, first. Describe to us what the situation in Bangladesh is. We understand there is optimism, there is hope, but there are also questions raised as the election process, as you near towards election now, with the fact that neither Sheikh Hasina nor her party has been allowed to contest today. Can you really call it a fair election?
Thank you very much. Actually, it's not only Sheikh Hasina's party, but all leftist and secularist parties, they are also barred from taking part in the election. So we can say this election is between the Islamist forces.
Okay.
And under this scenario, whether there will be a free and fair election, I'd like to humbly draw your kind attention to a point that during the previous elections in this country from 1972 until 2024, Jamaat-e-Islami and all Islamic parties combined, they hardly got 8 to 10% votes of the total votes. But this is the first time Jamaat is seeing the opportunity of becoming a ruling party. And there are allegations that Jamaat is taking full preparation of manipulating the election. And Jamaat is absolutely blessed and backed and patronized by Yunus. So this is the situation where the entire state machinery would be working against BNP. And of course, there's no possibility of fair election. Rather, I would like to say that this may turn into one of the deadliest elections in the history of Bangladesh, with the massive numbers of casualties because of the confrontations and clashes in various parts of the country.
Okay, I'm going to ask you to elaborate on that. You're saying it could be one of the deadliest elections. Are you saying that the security apparatus is not ready for elections? Because what we are hearing essentially is that all is calm and all is composed, and disregarding the fact that more than 15 to 20 Hindus have been gunned down, burned down. Largely what we are hearing from the administration is that the country is now ready. The time is ripe for election. You're saying that there could be major trouble going forward. What makes you say that?
You see, as you mentioned, the latest case of the death of Mr. Susen Chandra Sarkar, the Hindu trader who was lynched yesterday. But why it will be deadly is because it will be a war actually for Jamaat-e-Islami to anyhow win this election, because this is their last chance. And for BNP, it will be their challenge to anyhow stop Jamaat-e-Islami in manipulating, number one. Number two, the 35% of the voters in this country, they don't have a choice because their parties are not in the ballot. So if they refrain from joining the election, particularly Hindus, then they will fall into the wrath of BNP, Jamaat and all other parties. And that's why I say there will be massive clashes in the polling booths, outside the polling booths, and even there will be orchestrated attacks on religious minorities, Hindus, and also the supporters, 35% of Awami League and other leftist and secularist forces. So it's going to be a war. I don't call it an election.
Okay. Those are very strong words. You're calling it a war, not an election. Let's assume for a minute, as major polls are now suggesting, that BNP is going to win. If the BNP wins, how different will BNP administration be compared to Awami League Sheikh Hasina's regime when it comes to foreign and domestic policy?
If BNP wins, if at all, then BNP is going to actually come up with a moderate foreign policy. It will definitely have better relations with India, undoubtedly, because BNP was in power previously. And in those days, BNP always had good relations with India. And BNP will not push forward any agenda of caliphatization of Bangladesh. But Jamaat has categorically said that they will follow the code of Quran, and they will establish the rule of Allah in this country, means they will turn Bangladesh into a caliphate. So for BNP,
about to come to that, let's say it's a neck-to-neck between BNP and Jamaat ends up winning these elections. What would it mean for Bangladesh's minority? We're already looking at assaults. We are looking at purported violence against minority. We're looking at temples being looted. We are looking at churches being destroyed. We're looking at a concerted attempt being made against minority in Bangladesh today. What would it mean for the people of Bangladesh, for minorities specifically, if Jamaat wins?
Unfortunately, minorities in this country have been facing intimidation and atrocities in 1947. If Jamaat wins, it will not be a nightmare only for the religious minorities of this country. It will be a nightmare for the secularist forces. I mean, even people like me, because Jamaat is going to enforce caliphate. I mean, Sharia rule. They will turn Bangladesh into caliphate with the help of Yunus. And exactly Yunus wants that, because Yunus is not ready to leave the position. He is having a dream of becoming the next supreme leader of this country through the referendum.
All right, so questions of course on Yunus as well, coming from Dhaka directly, where a high stakes election is going to unfold in just a short while from now. Bangladesh going to poll will be closely watched by all the neighboring countries as well as powers throughout the world. Thank you very much, Salahuddin Shoaib, who's joining us live from Dhaka, to take your time out, sir, and for all your inputs. We will, of course, be tracking Bangladesh elections very, very closely here on News9. But shifting focus now to a story coming to light from Kanpur, raising question on whether the law in this country is equal for all. The high-profile Lamborghini crash case in Kanpur has taken a contentious turn, with conflicting claims from the accused's family and the lawyer, even as police insist evidence places the accused behind the wheel. 6 people were injured on Sunday afternoon when a speeding Lamborghini plowed into pedestrians and vehicles on VIP Road in Kanpur. Listen in to what eyewitnesses had to say.
गाड़ी पहले आई, उसने टक्कर ऑटो के मारी। जब ऑटो टक्कर पड़ी है तो वो गाड़ी जस्ट जैसे मालूम पड़ा कि 200 गुना स्पीड बढ़ गई हो, तो उसने आके जैसे हमने इनको हटाया तो हम लोग इधर गिर गए। तो बराबर ऐसे गाड़ी बुलेट में टक्कर पड़ गई। आके बुलेट में टक्कर मारते वो खंबा था, खंबे में जाकर गाड़ी रुक गई। वहाँ पे बुलेट पर चढ़ भी गई थी गाड़ी। फिर उसके बाद जैसे हम लोग खड़े हुए तो हम लोग बाउंसर उतरे। हम लोग सोचा पता नहीं क्या हुआ है, तो उतने में बाउंसर आए तो वो लोग शीशा तोड़ने लगे हाथ से शीशा नहीं तोड़ पाए तो उन लोगों को ईंटा दिया गया, तो ईंटे से फिर उन्होंने शीशा तोड़ा। शीशा तोड़ के अब आदमी कह रहा ड्राइवर है, तो हम लोग तो जानते नहीं ड्राइवर है कि मालिक है क्या है। फिर उसके बाद उनको निकाला गया, निकाल के जाने लगे। उसमें एक बाउंसर था, वो हम लोग से बदतमीजी भी करने लगा, तो हम लोगों ने उसको खड़ा रखा जैसे तुरंत ही उसके बाद से फोर्स आ गई, गाड़ी लेके थाने चली गई।
So initially, the FIR mentioned an unidentified driver. Soon after, Shivam Mishra, who's the son of tycoon businessman KK Mishra, was named during the investigation. The defense has since put out multiple versions of what transpired. First, the family claimed that Shivam was not even driving the vehicle, that a driver named Mohan was at the wheel. Then came the claim that the car was hit by an auto rickshaw, causing it to lose control. The family also denied overspeeding, intoxication, later saying that Shivam suffered from epilepsy and is undergoing treatment in the national capital. Police have rejected these claims. The Kanpur Police Commissioner says that CCTV footage, eyewitness accounts and video from the spot clearly show Shivam Mishra being pulled out of the driver's seat immediately after the crash. The Lamborghini has since been seized for forensic examination, and Shivam's name now finds itself in the FIR.
कमिश्नर साहब का कहना है कि शिवम गाड़ी चला रहा था, ऑन माइक रिकॉर्ड उन्होंने बोला है।
शिवम गलत बोल, नहीं सर गलत बोल रहे हैं। अगर कोई बोल रहा है तो गलत बोल रहा है, कोई भी बोल रहा हो, पुलिस बोल रही है वो भी गलत बोल रहा है।
कमिश्नर गलत बोल रहे हैं,
बिल्कुल गलत बोल रहे हैं, ऐसा नहीं।
क्या ओवर स्पीडिंग की आदत थी को? ओवर स्पीडिंग की आदत थी?
नहीं सर, वहाँ स्पीड हो ही नहीं सकती। वो ड्राइवर
लाइन में कितनी
बोलते रहिए।
ये भी जांच।
ये भी कहना है कि उस वक्त जब ये एक्सीडेंट हुआ है वो नशे में थे।
नहीं,
उस गाड़ी को जो ड्राइवर चला रहे थे मोहन जी, उन्होंने कल कोर्ट में एप्लीकेशन दी थी कि हम कोर्ट में सरेंडर करना चाहते हैं। कोर्ट ने आज की डेट फिक्स की थी आख्या मंगाने के लिए थाने से। आज आख्या आई नहीं है, कल की डेट फिर फिक्स हो गई है उसमें। तो जो ड्राइवर गाड़ी चला रहा था उसने हाजिर होकर के अपनी जमानत कराने का प्रार्थना पत्र दिया और गाड़ी रिलीज की एप्लीकेशन भी कोर्ट में लगी है।
शिवम मिश्रा का क्या रोल है?
शिवम मिश्रा और ड्राइवर दोनों लोग गाड़ी में बैठे हुए थे। जो ड्राइवर गाड़ी चला रहा था उससे एक दिन पहले गाड़ी को बनाने वाले कुछ लोग आए थे और वो उसका ड्राइवर का कहना ये है कि गाड़ी में अचानक साइड से एक टेम्पो वाले ने टक्कर मारी और उसके बाद बगल में एक मोटरसाइकिल खड़ी थी, उससे इनकी गाड़ी टकरा गई। इतना ही मुझे बताया ड्राइवर ने।
शिवम से कुछ बात हुआ था कि किस मतलब
वो तो बेहोश है, वहाँ एडमिट है दिल्ली में।
क्या प्रॉब्लम क्या है?
उनको कुछ प्रॉब्लम है, दिल्ली में एडमिट है, चक्कर वक्कर आया था, जो भी था।
एक्सीडेंट की धाराएं हैं, उनके अंतर्गत कार्रवाई की जा रही है। जो गाड़ी थी उनकी लैम्बोर्गिनी, उसको सीज कर दिया गया है। विवेचना में ये पता लगा है कि जो लड़का चालक है वो शिवम मिश्रा है। उनके पिताजी के मिश्रा हैं, ये दिल्ली में रहते हैं और वो लड़का गाड़ी चला रहा था, उसके साथ पे पीछे बाउंसर थी और दूसरी BMW गाड़ी में। उन लड़कों ने जब वो एक्सीडेंट हो गया था तो वो लड़का बाहर नहीं निकल पा रहा था, संभवतः शॉक लग गया है, जिसकी अभी और आगे की जानकारी की जाएगी और उनको निकाल करके वो लड़कों ने निकाला जो बाउंसर थे। पुलिस ने मौके पे जाकर के गाड़ी को लिया है, थाने में FIR करा दी है, आगे की कार्रवाई की जा रही है।
In a separate action, the local SHO has now been temporarily removed from duty on 9th of February for negligence. The police say the investigation is ongoing and that evidence and not claims will decide accountability. This crash is beginning to look less like a road accident and more like a test of how power, privilege and policing intersect in India. At first, the FIR did not even name Shivam Mishra, despite eyewitnesses and video footage allegedly showing him being pulled out of the driver's seat. The fact that his name surfaced only later strengthens public suspicion that accountability often arrives slowly when the accused is well connected. Equally troubling are the evolving narratives. Multiple versions. 72 hours later, remember, Shivam is still free. His lawyer and family are now blaming an unidentified driver for the crash, despite witness statements and visual evidence showing Shivam's behind the wheel and showing him being dragged from behind the wheel. It signals a deeply disturbing pattern where law and people bend to the will of powerful. Ultimately, this case is no longer just about a Lamborghini crash in Kanpur. It's about whether investigations will follow evidence without fear or favor, or whether justice will prioritize victims over status. Joining me on the show is Ranjan Dwivedi, former DGP Uttar Pradesh. Also with me is Dr. Rajiv Nanda, Senior Advocate, Supreme Court. Thank you very much, sir. And sorry for keeping you for far too long. Mr. Dwivedi, I want to come to you first, sir. What are you making of the fact that Shivam Mishra is still out, he's still free, 2 hours since that unfortunate accident, in fact more than that, since that unfortunate accident, he's currently receiving treatment in the national capital and he's still not behind bars?
That's a good question, but let me just explain to you how accidents happen and how accidents investigations happen. You see, whenever the accident happens, people know the vehicle, the number, they do not know the name of the driver. So almost 100%, the FIR is registered against somebody unknown, but then very soon you get the evidence, as the police commissioner also said, that we have evidence now. There's photographic evidence, there's video evidence, people standing there, their evidence, because you see, in Kanpur, there don't be too many people having Lamborghinis. And people would be knowing this guy, Shivam Mishra. So the evidence would know him, that this person was driving the car, that's number one. But let me tell you another thing. You see, in most accident cases, since the victims have no real interest in getting the person prosecuted who was responsible, and if no death has taken place, then in all such cases, and especially if the person is a very moneyed person, and ultimately you'll find in this case also, my hunch is that this will end in a compromise. They'll throw off all the witnesses. Even the victims would say that, हाँ हमको पता नहीं किसने किया था, जैसा याद पड़ रहा था उस समय, and then when for the victim, if he gets 5 lakh rupees, which is nothing for this rogue driver and this rich man, he has no interest in getting prosecuted. So, this is how accidents usually get handled. That's one. Secondly, you're saying that he's not arrested. Yeah, you see, again, this is a ploy people take, that they claim that the person is unwell, get him admitted in a hospital, and therefore the process becomes longer because he is in a hospital in Delhi. Then the police has to obtain a warrant against him, send a team to serve the warrant, and the doctors will then decide whether he is in a position to go to Kanpur or not. So this process takes a long time.
Okay.
So you see this,
but Mr. Dwivedi, sorry to just a counter question, sir. The accident happened in Kanpur, so which means that Shivam was in Kanpur at the time of the accident. He later moved to the national capital, and all this must have taken at least a couple of hours, 10 to 12 hours. Do you think there was a significant time lapse between the police identifying who the driver was and then filing the FIR and then nabbing him? He had enough time to go to Delhi?
You see, that's exactly what I'm saying, that police has to follow a process. You record evidence, and then you go to arrest a person. Now, these people knew very well that the evidence that he was driving the car will be forthcoming, and the police will have it in no time. And that is the reason why they immediately, from the very first day, very first hour, the accused lawyer started the narrative that he's having a heart attack and he's moved to a hospital.